And our legal correspondent, Dion Jackson Miller, is here to give us a recap and kind of break down what came out of the appeal. Dion, thanks for joining us. First of all, what were the main issues that came out of the appeal?
What we saw over the past 2 days, Herman, is that the Privy Council judges were most concerned with the jury issues here, and specifically the issue of the juror who had tried to bribe the forewoman of the jury. Now, he has been called various things over the past 2 days: the bent juror, the naughty juror, the tainted juror, and the concern was that at the point at which the attempt at bribery had been discovered, the judge didn't discharge him. He was allowed to continue to sit on the matter, to continue to hear the case. He went into the jury room with the other jurors. He voted as part of the jury bringing down their verdict. And the concern is that other jurors, having learned of the attempt at bribery, would they then have been biased? Would they then have tried to overcompensate and perhaps punish the defendants because of that? So the concern is, did that affect the fairness, the justice of the verdict? And we saw, based on the questions coming from the judges of the Privy Council, that this was one of the issues they were most concerned about, and is likely to be the issue that decides what happens in this matter.
All right, so in terms of the case now for Adidja Palmer, why were these factors really important?
Because it goes to the heart of whether the verdict is what is called safe. Was it a safe verdict? Was it an unsafe verdict? And that goes back to the issue of justice, as we heard some of the lawyers speaking there. If it is that the jury at the end of the day did not deliver a fair verdict, then that is a verdict that perhaps should not be allowed to stand.
All right, so 2 days are up. What are the options now open to the Privy Council?
Well, the Privy Council, of course, as any appellate court, has the option of affirming the conviction, meaning saying, no, let everything stand as is. I think anybody who has been watching over the past 2 days, people don't really think that is what is going to happen. So what can happen then? The Privy Council can decide to set aside the conviction in its entirety, or they can decide to order a retrial or send it back to the Court of Appeal for the Court of Appeal to decide if there should be a retrial. And what we heard in terms of the arguments there, the lawyer, Mr. Knox, who was arguing for the government, he said at the very least it should be sent to the Court of Appeal for a retrial if it is that the judges don't think that the verdict was fair. On the other hand, the lawyer who was representing the appellant said no. He said, in a case like this, the Kartel case, it's so high profile, it's been going on for so many years, that at this point, a retrial would not be able to be a fair trial to deliver justice. So all of that is going to be taken into consideration. We'll see what happens. As Ramardo said there, about 3 to 4 months, I think, is reasonable to expect a ruling.
All right, we'll continue to track that. Dion Jackson Miller, our legal correspondent here in the newsroom. And